Alright, here we are. It's 7:30. That means it's time for the Tech Forum on W4GSO Repeater. And this is what this is. This is KV4EP, name here is Scott. And we'll get the party started. See how many people are here. Seems like a lot of people are out of town, at least as far as I can tell, but we'll have a good time anyway. So I hope everyone had a great Christmas, and I hope you're all looking forward to an excellent New Year. And that's coming up here pretty quick, isn't it? It'll be here before we know it. The next thing we know, it'll be summertime again. Things just seem to move that fast. So let's see here. If you're not a ham, or if you're interested in upgrading your ticket, and you want to get on the HF bands or get a little bit of extra additional frequencies under your belt, there's a VE session on the second Saturday every month at Hinshaw United Methodist Church on High Point Road. There's also a VE session at the High Point Red Cross building on Phillips Avenue. Now, they're on different weekends, but they're both coordinated by the same fellow, David, AJ4TF. He is the man when it comes to VE sessions, and so you'll want to get a hold of him and let him know if you want to attend either of those. The one for in Greensboro on I said High Point Road, didn't I? I shouldn't have said that. It's Gate City Boulevard now. I should update my notes. That one starts at 9 a.m. on the second Saturday of every month, which means the next session for that is on January the 9th. So you have a couple weeks to study up for that one. And the one in High Point at the Red Cross building on Phillips Avenue is on the last Saturday of every month. That one starts at 10 in the morning, so that one will be January the 30th. David did send me all of the dates for the upcoming VE sessions at the Hinshaw location, which I will put on the w4gso.org website. I haven't had a chance to do it yet. I've put all the general meetings on there, but not the VE sessions. So those will go on there so that you can check at a quick glance when they're going to be. And you'll want to let him know that you're coming. It's not mandatory, but it helps him to know. Make sure that that people are going to be showing up. His email address is aj4tf@arrl.net. So let David know if you're going to be there. And I'm not sure. Let's see if David is around, because there was some question of whether they were going to have the December 26th VE session, if they had anybody get a hold of them by last Wednesday. I think they're going to try to do it. But let's see, David, are you around, and did you end up having anyone this past Saturday?
Yes and no to your questions. And I just got back in the car. I didn't catch your whole thing, but you said you were going to post the Greensboro sessions on the W4GSO website. Any reason why we can't post the High Point sessions as well? AJ4TF.
Oh, no, I can do those too. You sent me the list of the Greensboro ones, so they were just easier and fresh in my mind. But no, absolutely, we can put the High Point ones. They're easy enough to figure out, so I will definitely put those out there. And well, I'm glad you didn't have to spend your Saturday over there. I know you like to do it, and I know you're great at it. But the day after Christmas, probably a nice day to wind down. Thanks for letting us know, and thanks for being here tonight. Do you have anything else to say about those sessions coming up, or have you said anything you need to?
No, I think you've got it. Last Saturday of the month in High Point, second Saturday in Greensboro. This year, the way the calendar works out, there's several months where there are 3 weeks between those sessions. Just how the calendar works out. But yeah, I think it's leap year too, so that might have something to do with it. Anyhow, just let me know. Anybody who's listening who wants to get their license or wants to upgrade, I think you already gave my email, so that's fine. Thanks, Scott, AJ4TF.
Well, that's great, and no, we thank you for your dedication and effort towards that. That's excellent. I really appreciate that. All right, the only other announcement that I have tonight before we get going, well, there are two. One is that we have the News and Information Net following this forum at 9 o'clock every Sunday night, so you want to be here for that. That features Amateur Radio Newsline, and Patrick, KTCPR, leads that, so be here as soon as we're finished. Well, probably a little while after we're finished, and be here for that. And I also want to let you know that at the Greensboro Amateur Radio Association meeting in January, our guest speaker is going to be Bob Heil. and we're going to visit with him over Skype. He agreed to do that. We're going to have some neat things this year. I think we're going to have some relatively well-known hams and people important in the ham world come and talk to us. So that's going to be fun. So yeah, that let's see here. I should have put the date for that. I thought I had that in here. Oh well. Let's see. The fourth Monday in January is the 24th. There you go. January the 24th. Right now it's slated for Captain Bill's, so I don't foresee that changing, but we'll see. You know, what I would like to see is this, get a great big crowd, so big that we can't fit in there and have to find a new place. It'd be awesome. Anyway, there you go. Alright, so let's see here. We're going to start by taking check-ins. Oh, there's one other thing that I wanted to let you know before we get to check-ins. And that is that next Sunday night I will not be here. I'm going to try to find a substitute, so you know, keep your radio tuned up, but if something doesn't happen, don't be surprised. I hope it does. Hopefully we can get somebody else in here to run this. And if you are listening and you are interested, shoot me an email and we will make it happen. I'll send you my my little script that I go by, which isn't much of anything. And you can take it over for the week, or you know, if you want to do it more often, we can work something out with that too. But this is a lot of fun. So I will not be here, so hopefully we'll have it anyway. So there you go. Wanted to let you know that since it's about a week. Well, it's exactly a week away. All right. So let's see. The topic of the night is something that I don't really know much of anything about, and you all are going to have to teach me. And I know that there are a few guys on here who are just the bee's knees when it comes to this, and some of you probably are pretty good at it too, and that is CW. I don't know anything about it. I've attempted to start to learn it for about 15 minutes one time, and that's as lame as I am. And when I have, well, I just need to sit down and do it, because I really would like to know it. And I know that there are some other people around here who have gone through certain courses, or maybe studied it on your own and learned it using various methods. If you know it and you're proficient at it, I'd like to hear what it is that you did to become proficient at it. And if you have any advice for people who aren't proficient at it or would like to get into it, what advice you have for getting into CW. So there you go. That is the topic of the night. I think that'll be fun, and I'm looking forward to it. So let's see here. Let's start out by taking check-ins. We do every week, mobile and low power first. That way, if you're in the car, since I'm yammering on, we can get to you first. So if you're mobile or low power and you want to check into tonight's tech forum, call forum control and key to make sure you're not doubling. Then give your call sign and let me know your name too, just so that I, you know, just in case I go brain dead and I need to write it down. So if you're mobile or low power, we'll get to you first, and call forum control now.
Forum control. Here is Alpha Juliet 4 Tango Foxtrot David, about 1 minute from home.
All right, David. Well, somehow you played your cards right. I didn't hear anybody else, so I think it's you. You're up. What's going on? How are you doing tonight?
Just running an errand, trying to get back to the house, which I'll be there soon. Interesting topic that you brought up. I know there's been some people that have gone through the CW Ops, CW Academy class. I signed up for that about a year ago and forgot about it. And about 3 weeks ago, they emailed me and said, "Oh, you're in the class for January if you want." So I said, "All right, I'm in." So every Monday and Thursday for 8 weeks, from 8 till whenever, we'll be doing Skype class on CW. The guy that's teaching it is a guy in Tennessee. Name is Barry. W4 Elvis. Talk to him on the phone. He seems like a good personality. Give it a shot. Back to forum control, AJ4TF.
All right, man, that's great. I'm excited for you. I think that'll be fun, and I'd like to hear when you're all through with it what your experience was. I know that Richie K4ANU just went through it, and he seemed to like it a lot, and so that's great. I think that'll be nice. And you know what? That's the best thing to do. Just take the first step and put your foot forward and go from there. So by the end, hopefully you'll be well on your way. and it will start to become easy for you. That'll be great. All right, well, let's get to the rest of the check-ins, and just like with the mobile low power, to check in call forum control, make sure you're not unkey. That's the release to listen button, right? Make sure you're not doubling, and then give your call sign and name. And we're going to take check-ins by the first letter after the number in your call sign. That's the suffix. So the first letter of the suffix of your call sign. And we're going to go backwards this week. So let's take check-ins from Quebec through Zulu. If you want to check in the tech forum tonight, Quebec through Zulu, call forum control now. Alright, good to hear you, Cameron. AJ4TW, I got you down. Thanks for being here. And it's a little lonely in that last group, but maybe we'll make up for it in the next ones, or as we move along. Let's see. Before that, in the alphabet, let's go hotel through Papa. Hotel through Papa. If you want to check in, call forum control now.
Hey, Scott. K4HC, Chris in Greensboro.
N8KSG, Bill in Summerfield.
Forum control. Please check in, Kilo Bravo 1 Papa, Tom in Oak Ridge.
Forum control. Please check in Kilo Mike 4 Hotel X-Ray Victor, Paul in Northeast Guilford County. Good evening.
Alright, good to hear all of you. Thanks for being here tonight. Let's see, we got Chris K4HC. He's the CW Grandmaster. It'll be fun to hear what he has to say. Bill, NAKSG, it's always good to hear you. I hope you're doing well tonight. Thanks for joining us. Tom, KB1P, all the way from Oak Ridge. Thanks for being here tonight. And Paul, KM4HXV, thanks a lot, man. Hope you're doing well also. Alright, let's get the last bit. If you want to check in the tech forum, and the suffix to your call sign starts with alpha through golf, call forum control now.
Good evening, Scott. From November 4, Bravo Yankee United. I'm going to start going by the United so I can get in no matter what. Name is Roy Pleasant Garden, and HXV needs a copy of the script. Get his email, info.BYU.
Alright, Roy, good to hear you. N4BYU, thanks for being here. And I can do that. I know that he had emailed me, a couple weeks ago. It was one of those weeks that I was gone. And my script is minimal, and I'm in the process of kind of going through it with something that Tom gave me. But I will send what I have over anyway, because you know what? If anybody wants it, they can have it, as far as I'm concerned. We'll be happy to do that. Alright, let's see. Anybody else? Alpha through Zulu, if you want to join into the tech forum tonight and weigh in and let us know what's going on, call forum control now.
Forum control, this is WD4NFL from Gibsonville. The handle here is Doug Delta Oscar Unifor Golf.
Alright, Doug, I'm glad you're here tonight. From Gibsonville, you're sounding great. Coming in loud and clear. WD4NFL, thanks for joining us. And, yeah, that's excellent. Let's see, well, let's go back to the top of the list, and we'll see if anybody else wants to join us later on So that means that up first is Cameron in High Point AJ4TW. How's it going, Cameron? What do you know about CW? And I guess a bigger question that I probably should have asked is what kind of fun ham-related stuff did you get for Christmas? Alright, man, that's great. This is KV4EP with the Tech Forum, I should say. That's excellent. Congratulations on the PTT switch. And, yeah, that whole neural decoder thing is, you know, that's like, it's a dream. It seems kind of fuzzy right now, but maybe I should do something to clarify it. But, that's, you know, that is pretty neat that computers have the capability of doing that, but I understand completely what you're saying about, you know, not wanting to get too many in the log and get them confused down the road. Alright, so let's see here. Let's go on to Chris and see what he has got to say about it. I'm sure that he's got some excellent information. K48C, KV4UP, how you doing tonight?
Well, good evening, Scott, everybody on the forum. Chris, K4HC. As you might imagine, I have just a little bit on this topic to discuss, so I'll unkey a couple of times to reset. Hopefully it won't time things out. Let's see, to start off with, for Christmas I got socks, underwear, and new windshield wipers. But, you know, that was what I asked for, so I got what I wanted. I needed new socks and underwear and new windshield wipers, so there you go. And cool stuff I've been doing, and there's still some time to do it for the last part of the year. 2015 is the 90th anniversary of the International Amateur Radio Union, the IARU. And there have been a number of stations. If anybody who's been active on HF has probably seen them on the cluster. Call signs with different prefixes ending with 90 IARU. For example, in Ecuador right now, Hotel Charlie 90 IARU is on 20 meter CW. And it's been fun chasing after those. There is also a downloadable certificate once you get at least 10 contacts with IARU stations. You can download the certificate. This depends on them uploading, and not all of them are very prompt about it. But they've been very active. And if you're looking for something to do for next week, it has to be done in calendar year 2015. So through next Thursday evening, 7 p.m. local time, is when the new year starts for UTC. So get on the air, chase after some IARU contacts. It's a fun little activity. Okay, on to the main topic, CW. CW is an acquired skill. This is something that takes practice, and like anything that takes practice to develop a skill, two things that I compare it to are learning to play a guitar or typing. The mechanics are obviously somewhat different. You know, with one you're learning to move your fingers in certain ways, and anyone who learned to touch type correctly probably remembers the first time they sat down in front of a keyboard and there's no way I can make my fingers go in those directions. And with practice and drill and exercise, it becomes second nature, and you can develop a skill with that. CW is very similar in a lot of ways. It does take regular practice and drill to do that. The CW Ops, CW Academy has been mentioned already a couple of times. Richie, K4ANU, just recently completed it, and he is in the process of writing up an article or doing a series of videos about it. I'm not sure which. Anyway, looking forward to seeing his report on that, although the early reports are that he was very pleased with it, and he successfully completed it. And David is getting ready to start. David, if you're still listening, I encourage you to stick to it. Regular drill and practice and follow the instructions of the instructor is going to get you where you need to go. What probably kills more people when trying to learn CW is not putting the time into it. It doesn't take a huge amount of time, but it does take regular time. If you can spend 15 minutes every other day and drill on CW, you can develop a skill over just a few weeks' time. Learn the alphabet, learn the numbers, learn the punctuation of the pro signs. So, oh yeah, and Scott just acknowledged, the GERA meeting is not the 24th, which is a Sunday, but the 25th of January, which is a Monday. Back to my topic now. Okay, so regular practice and drill, and the CW Ops Academy is a great resource. It tends to get a little backed up. It's not an instant gratification sort of thing. CW is not an instant gratification sort of thing. It's something that takes time to develop. So would encourage you to consider signing up for that and then spending the time. They meet twice a week. I think it's for 30 minutes. It may be for an hour. I think via Skype, although I'm not entirely certain their mechanics of how they do this. But they have group meetings where they get together and then they have assignments that you complete, kind of like homework. So a great way to learn it, and a great way to work it with a group. How did I learn was in a class with a bunch of other novices back in the day when the novice license still existed. Roy Smith was actually a member of the same class that I was in back in 1976. I beat him to the punch, and I got licensed at the end of 1976, and he waited until 1977 to get licensed because he was a little slower on CW, being older and more stuck in his ways. Because I was 14 at the time, a little more mentally flexible, perhaps. And I'm still more mentally flexible than he is, even though I'm older and more set in my ways now. Roy, of course, I'm just kidding. At least a little bit. The one thing I would encourage you to not do, this seems to have, I've seen advertisements for it pop up occasionally on QRZ.com. There is a course called Code Quick. And I would strongly encourage you to not use that. Their method of teaching code is to teach a mnemonic. Something, you hear a sound, you relate it to something, and then you write the letter. It gives you an extra step in translation that, well, while for learning the letters more quickly perhaps might work, but then you've got to unlearn that step to develop any speed whatsoever. So please do yourself a favor and stay away from code quick. So regular drill and practice with a group if possible. CW Ops Academy, which I'm sure Scott is going to have a link for here shortly. I'll send him one that he can put on his little thing to put up on the Gara webpage, and stick to it. Consistency, and then once you develop that skill, I think you'll develop an appreciation for it. There's a lot of satisfaction of being able to do something that not everybody can do. Scott, hope that helped. Any questions? Back to you. KV4UP in the group, K4HC.
Well, that's excellent. That's really great. And yes, I do acknowledge I screwed up the date of the Gara meeting. Is the 25th, not the 24th. So if you show up on Sunday, we won't be there. Sorry. But that's great. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the thing, is finding the time to practice and then just being dedicated. It's like anything else. If you want to become good at an instrument or good at any other skill like that, you're going to have to take the time just to plug away at it a little bit every day, you know, and get that ingrained. You know, when I was in undergrad, my undergrad degree's in music, and I had to take a conducting class, and my conducting teacher, he likened it to wood carving. He'd say it's like carving paths in your brain. He said, you know, you're not going to take a wood carving chisel and make one really deep cut if you're going to make something that's very intricate. You're going to take a chisel and or a gouge or some other tool and make a very shallow cut, and slowly you'll get the look you're going for. But it takes a very long time, and you have to go over it multiple times. It says the same thing when you're doing that in your brain. When you know, the idea with conducting is that you have to be able to use two different hands independently of one another. So it takes a lot of practice to be able to do that well. Do one thing with one hand and something different with the other hand. So it just takes time and practice and effort and going over it again and again and again. So I think that's the thing. We all, if we want to get into it, I just really have to be willing to put forth that effort. So great, thank you for that, Chris. That's wonderful. All right, up to Summerfield and Bill in 8KSG. How are things going with you tonight, Bill? What's going on?
Good evening, Scott, and everybody else out there. This is N8KSG, and well, I've been playing around today, configuring a Node computer to install the Wires X on the 345 machine out in Madison, and I had this working with my home computer, but I figured I'd better do it on another one if I'm actually hook it up to the repeater. So that's what I've been doing most of the day today. As far as CW, of course I got licensed when you had to learn it, so I learned it at 5 words a minute. And in the late 80s, as I was trying to upgrade to general, I was getting very, very close to passing the 13 words per minute test, but both times when I sat for it, I was not prepared well enough and did not pass. But it's always, you know, it's always one of those things that's easy to say that you want to do it, but another thing to actually do it. Like Chris said, when I practice, I do well, and when I don't practice, I don't do as well. And probably stumble around in the 5, 6, 7, 8 words a minute range right now. But I don't know. I'm not familiar with this Code Academy that you're all talking about, so I can get a little background there whenever there's a convenient point to break. I kind of monitor the Carolina SlowNet from time to time, but my biggest thing is getting over the stage fright and getting involved. I think everybody has told me that getting involved on that is a good way to get started, because you kind of know the exchanges, you know what's coming up, so you can complete some transmissions and get through things in a fairly non-threatening way. But I still haven't really done that much on it. But anyways, yeah, when it's convenient, give a little more information about what this Code Academy is, because I have not heard of it before. Nothing else from out here in Summerfield, so I'll send it back to you, Scott. This is N8KSG.
Alright, this is KV4EP with the Tech Forum. Yeah, that's great. Well, you know, at least you have a base there to work from, so that's neat. And congratulations on the Wires X thing, too. I'll be interested to hear how that works out, and what do you get to do with that. That'll be fun. The CW Ops, the CW Academy, if you go to www.cwops.org/CW Academy.html, pretty simple URL, but or you can just go to cwops.org, and on the left there's a link to the CW Academy. You know, I didn't know an awful lot about it, other than I know that, like David said, he's going to be starting that here in the next couple weeks or so. Richie has gone through it, but it's Skype based, and you meet with them a couple times a week, then you have homework to do. So it's kind of I think the biggest thing about it, if I had to guess based on what I know about it, is that it's accountability. You know, you're accountable for learning, and it kind of forces you to move forward with it, and you can't slack like as if nobody was watching you. You kind of have to be accountable. They hold you accountable for learning it. So that's about as much as I know about it. I would go there, cwops.org, and take a look at that. That'll give you a lot more information, so hopefully that helps. And by the way, John WCCW just checked in over Hangout, so thanks, John. We'll get to you in a little bit. Alright, so let's go back up to Oak Ridge in that area to Tom, KB1P. What's going on, Tom? How are you doing tonight?
This is KB1P Tom in Oak Ridge. I'm doing well, and hope everybody had a good Christmas, and thank you for doing the net, Scott. My CW experience is when I first got licensed, I was studying for CW, and I can't stress you really have to keep at it to do it. And when I went in to take the test, I was up to about 10 words per minute for the tech, and I walked in and they said you don't have to do it anymore, and I didn't take the test, and I sort of like let it slip away. Every once in a while I take out the old key and try to practice again. I'd like to know, Chris, what type of key that he recommends for people who are just starting CW. For Christmas, I didn't get anything ham related, just got the regular stuff I get every year. Back to you. This is KB1P.
Alright, Tom. Well, you know, I guess the nice thing is at least you have studied it at one point in time, so just like Bill, you have a base there to build on if you ever want to get back into it again. I'm sure it would, like riding a bicycle, it might not come back too quickly, but it won't take you that long. And Chris, do you have any suggestions or recommendations for Tom as far as the key goes?
Yeah, there are a couple different schools of thought on that, and I'll give the pros and cons on both. The first is to start off learning with a straight key. If you start learning with a straight key, and for example, W1AW sends code practice over the air, most radios can be set to also send CW locally without transmitting. Turn off your Vox or something similar. Look to your owner's manual. One way to recommend to do that is to try and send it in time with them to learn the proper character formation. The benefit for learning with a straight key is it tends to ingrain the proper character formation in your mind, I think, a little more fully than trying to do it with a keyer. Key are a set of paddles, as they're often called. The most common ones are two-lever, or sometimes called iambic paddles. That is what I use, although I don't do what's called squeeze keying. I rock my hand back and forth and treat it more like a single lever paddle, but that's probably due to the way that I learned. There's a couple different ways to manipulate those. You can move your hand back and forth, left and right. The benefit to doing that with a keyer, often built into your radio, is that the elements, the dots and the dashes, are formed correctly, assuming you press the levers at the correct time. And with CW Ops, I think their general recommendation is to learn on the key that you're going to use, and most people use a set of paddles, either a single lever paddle, which will only key dots or dashes, because you can only press the lever one way at a time, or if with a twin lever paddle, which are probably more common, you can hold them both down and get alternate characters, da-da, 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 which is why it's called iambic. That's iambic pentameter. So probably most people would be better served by getting a set of paddles, although there is benefit to getting a straight key and learning to send proper character formation with that. It's hard to go much above 15 words a minute. Over 20 is very difficult with a straight key. So a set of paddles might be in the more common recommendation. So there's a non-answer for you. Many ways to go. Most people probably start with a set of paddles, though. K4HC.
Well, that's cool. That's good to know. That's something I didn't know, and I thought that was a good question, Tom. I wouldn't have thought that it would have made much of a difference, but I can see the benefits to both, and it does make sense to kind of start on something that you might eventually be using, especially if you build up your speed. But I could see how the straight key could be useful too. So, well, I thought that was a great answer, Chris. Thanks for providing it. All right, let's see here. Let's go down to Paul, KM4HXV. How are things going, Paul? What's going on?
Good evening, Scott. I guess that Roy has thrown me under the bus. I would love to do it. I'd like to have a good format in front of me to make sure I do it right, and I don't know if I can. But other than that, it's been a great Christmas, good time. Wife got, like everybody else, got underwear and socks. But I did get a subscription, 1-year subscription to CQ Amateur Radio, and also got a really nice ball cap with my call letters on the front and my name on the back in case you guys forget who I am at the meetings. And it's been a great weekend. Talk about CW. I would love to get into it. As I get older, I'm going to. I jumped into this sport or this hobby so fast that I've kind of overwhelmed myself. I've got a brother-in-law that's retired from the Air Force, and his brother, who is a big ham radio operator out of Florida, and they are big in CW. I've got a brother, an older brother that's retired from the Coast Guard that I would love Chris to meet, and also a CW person, and they're all over me about getting into it. Let me let it drop. One thing about me, I am ADHD, and I take on tasks wide open as fast as I can, and sometimes I need to slow down, but I am enjoying every bit of ham radio, talking to folks, really enjoying HF. It's awesome, making contacts, and you guys are all great, and I'm off all week, and I'm going to work on my log, getting that together now and doing some other things. But in the future, I really want to learn CW. I really do, and I want to learn it the old way. My brother-in-law said that's the best way to learn it. I don't want to cheat with the radio or things that tag into the radio. The best way to learn it is to get you just the tap and go at it and learn it. So as I get older, I want to grow with the sport and the hobby. So other than that, things are great, and just send me what you got, Scott, and I don't know, I'll talk to Roy and everybody else, and maybe I'll try to take on the tech thing next Sunday. Anyway, Kilo Mike 4, Hotel X-Ray Victor. Back to you, Scott.
That sounds great, Paul, and I'm right there with you, man. There's so many aspects of this hobby, so many things to learn and do. I think that's part of what is you get distracted. You know, you want to do something, and you get distracted. It's like a dog looking at a squirrel. You know. Trust me, I know. I just put a mobile rig, and I've been getting it all mounted up in our minivan for a trip, and you know, that's one thing after the other. Buying more antennas than I know what to do with for that thing, but that's cool. And I have an email drafted up. I'm gonna send it to you in a little bit, and I think you should do it. Go ahead and take it, and that'll be a good time for you. You know, my script is relatively minimal. There's not a lot in it. I wing a bunch, but you'll learn how to do that, and you'll do a great job. So thanks for offering, and I'll get that over to you soon. And thanks for being here tonight. I appreciate it a lot. All right, now on to Roy. And for BYU, I guess you can try to get a couple jabs back at Chris if you want to. Roy, now's your time. How's it going?
Good evening, Scott. Now, I let the old man go. I think, yeah, he had a little school. The school was paid for by us paying taxes. I believe the Coast Guard gave it to it and forced it upon him. I was going to break in when he was got through to kind of let him either agree with me or not. I did pass 13 words a minute. Ha ha. So I got mine legally. I have always understood when you're studying, you listen at 20 words a minute, slowed to 5. You start hearing it. When I was getting paid, I had a good code tape. The guy was sending at 22, I believe, and he would send a one character and then a second character, and then he'd take those two and make a word, and then he'd send teach you another character, and he'd start using words with that. And I got to the point that I was hearing words instead of dits and das. Scared me to death, and I don't know where the code tapes are now, but I was hearing it. And what can I say? I still, from what I know, you listen at 22 and slow it down to 5, and you go up. That's about it. And 4. But I did pass it to get my general. And I made 5 CW contacts. The first one was a girl somewhere up in on an island in Maine or somewhere, and she never QSL, so I got mad at CW. And 4, BYU.
That's hilarious. I'm sure CW was the culprit. That was the problem there, of course. Well, I'm sorry to hear she never QSL'd. That stinks. I'm sorry it turned you off from CW forever. So, but I'm glad that you did it, and I'm glad that you know what, you made yourself a credentialed CW op by that experience. So that's excellent, and I appreciate you being here tonight, Roy. That's really funny. All right, let's go over to Gibsonville with Doug. Good to hear you tonight, Doug. WD4 NFL is KV4UP. How are things going? What's going on?
Good evening, everybody. This is Doug, WD4 NFL. Yeah, I got my license back in 76. I started off as a novice, went 5 words a minute, CW, and then I made a few contacts there. I was in the military and had access to the equipment, made some contacts, but then shortly went ahead and got my technician license. And then from then on, I was doing mostly voice over to VHF stuff, and that's what I really got to like. So I haven't done CW in many, many years. Now I remember my dad back in the 50s. He was a ham radio operator, and he could do it. He just run this off. It just sounded like continuous tones, and he'd sit on a typewriter and just type it off as fast as it was coming in. It was pretty amazing. But like I say, I never got into it, and like I say, right now, I've been off the air for quite a few years, and I'm slowly getting back on the air. One of the things I did is for Christmas, I got a tri-band Comet GP15 antenna, which is what I'm talking on today, and I'm going to slowly get back into it and relearn a lot of stuff that I've lost over the years, and I'm looking forward to doing some new stuff with ham radio. Everybody, y'all have a good evening. This is WD4 NFL. Back to you, Scott.
Well, great, Doug. That's excellent. I'm glad that you're picking it back up and you're getting back into it, and that's fantastic. Congratulations. And Hopefully we'll hear you around a lot. This repeater tends to be fairly active, and we'd love to hear you on it. If you haven't been recently, hop on in. We'd love to have a chat with you. And thanks for joining us tonight. I'm honored that you decided to come over with your new antenna. That's fantastic. All right, let's see here. I got John, W8CCW on Hangouts. Let's go over to John down in Julian. I know, I'm going to remember that, John. And how are things going with you tonight? What's going on?
Things are going well. I've been enjoying the weather we've been having, and I have a wealth of experience with CW, but most of it is bad. When I entered this game in 1960, I believe, or maybe 61, whatever it was back there, you had to have 5 words a minute, and you were kind of the scum of the amateurs bands, and I soon learned that the guy who had a store-bought state-of-the-art Collins station but wasn't sure until too late which end of the soldering iron to pick up, I found that I didn't have much in common with those people, so I took another direction, and I've been ever so grateful that I did. But the guy that can do CW, I don't think it makes any difference. I think he can take a couple of paper clips and probably copy 35 words a minute, and it'll be 100% copy. And it doesn't make any difference how bad the send is, because as long as I can remember trying, there were people out there who bragged about their sending. It had a personal touch to it. Later on, when I got into decoding devices, I decided that a guy who couldn't send mechanically pure code had a speech impediment, and that didn't bother me. I just felt sorry for him. But long ago, I quit trying to deal with people who had inferior transmitting problems and refused to do anything about it. So that's part of what I'm leading up to here. The send quality comes in there, and I've known some people who could copy very fast code sitting at a typewriter and carrying on a conversation. But once again, they're not hams if they can't figure.
Repeater time out. Repeater time out.
When the TRS-80 came into being, and some of the earlier computers, we got some mechanical receiving that really worked pretty good. But as we've gone into this more elaborate software and hardware, the timing is not as good as it was on the more primitive machines. So that brings up a question I have. Anybody got a good decoder? Because I also have this problem of hearing and age, and there ain't no way that those things are going to get any better. I am going to quit even piddling around with when the contests are on, because it takes me too long to figure out what that guy's call really is. Not his fault, mine. So I just don't go there anymore. But the old timers who did it the right way and that sort of thing, they could make a key out of a hacksaw blade and 2 brass buttons, and they were good to go. it always amazed me how anybody could make a key that used a micro switch in it. That's just too iffy of a contact for me, but there are people out there who can do it. And better yet, there are people who can understand what they sent. Reset one more time. However, looking at the practical side of this, I used to fly a lot of single-engine instrument airplanes for real weather, kind of cheap for airplanes, which meant you had to do everything pretty much yourself. But as simply a matter of necessity, it's best to learn the code so that you can identify the sending station so that you are actually navigating on the right nav station. I have been challenged on that several times that I failed to verify that I'm really tuned to the right station, and each time I've received an apology when they found out that code, which is probably spent somewhere down around 5 words per minute, maybe less, maybe more. But just getting the 3 APE letters out for Appleton, that's a very important thing. So I really think CW is extremely important, but at the same time, it's not for everybody. And I think I need to stop about there and say that there are some bad things. I started out with a writer course which came on 33 1/3 phonograph record, and it had flashcards with it. Unfortunately, to this day, I can see those flashcards go by as I'm trying to copy Morse code, and I cannot get that out of my mind. And I have been known to write it down as dots and dashes and decode if I wanted it bad enough. So right now, I'd really like to fix this situation with some hardware, but I don't want to work on that problem if somebody else has got a package for $100 or less that actually works. And right now I'm looking at my CW Get program, which I actually paid for. That Russian fellow was so nice, apparently nobody actually paid him for his shareware before. So that's about all I know about CW. I wouldn't throw it out, but at the same time, it's in the same class as getting a 4-minute mile for a runner, I guess. WHC.
Repeater time out. Repeater time out.
Sorry, I quit here anyway.
All right, John. That's good. That's good. I think I got most of your points there, and I think you were asking if anybody knows of a mechanical or a computer-based CW receiver, software, translator, whatever you want to call it, that actually works well. I think that's what you were asking. Does anybody want to come back to John and let him know about something they've used that works pretty well, just to give him an additional helping hand when trying to receive call signs and that kind of stuff? Well, John, we'll put the question on the forums on the w4gso.org site. Maybe somebody will to come back. Yeah, I think the people who do CW, they probably and do it well, they probably don't really know of anything. There's no need, They have it in their head. It gets it decoded in their ears or in their brains, between their ears. So I know that a number of other people in the club who aren't on the forum right now have used some software, some hardware decoders. So we'll get you an answer one way or another. How about that? So thanks for being here tonight. I appreciate it. Let's see who else. If anybody else wants to join us tonight, that's the end of our list. So if you want to join the Tech Forum tonight and get in on this discussion, Call forum control now. Anybody, anywhere. Alpha through Zulu.
Net control. This is Kilo Golf 4, Oscar Papa X-ray, Rob in Summerfield. Good evening, Scott.
Hey Rob, how you doing, man? It's good to hear you tonight. It's good to see you this morning and hear you tonight. Hope you're doing well. Hopefully you've caught on to what our topic is tonight, CW, and if you've learned it, what worked for you, or what suggestions or advice you might have. And since you're the last one, that means you're up. How's it going tonight? What's going on?
Well, I just want to wish everyone a Happy New Year, and you do a good job of running the net there, Scott. I don't know any CW, and it's on my bucket list, but it's never been a priority for me whatsoever. Right now, my priority is I'm trying to pass the extra exam, so I'm dealing with that, so I'm struggling a little bit with that. So, but maybe someday I'll take up CW, but unfortunately don't have much time. I spend too much time volunteering with different agencies. I think I get myself burned out, but just want to, again, wish everyone a Happy New Year, and I'll turn it back to you, Scott. This is KG4OPX.
Well, no problem at all, and that's great. I'm glad you're working on that extra. Hopefully it goes smoothly for you, and you don't have to rack your brain too hard. I know it can be a bit of a bear and can be a challenge, but that's why we do it, isn't it? Because it's a challenge, and it keeps us motivated and moving ahead. And maybe just maybe, once you get that under your belt, CW will be the next step, or somewhere down the line. So, thanks for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. Sounding great, and hope you have a great New Year too. Well, I don't think we have anybody else, since that was the end of the list. So I think what I'm going to do, since we have about a half hour until the news and information net starts at 9 o'clock, we're going to close it down. I hope you all have an excellent New Year. Be here next Sunday night. Somebody will pick it up. I sent the script over to Paul, so you might just hear KM4HXV on his maiden voyage of hosting the Tech Forum next Sunday night. He'll do an excellent job, and I hope you all have a great New Year. 73, we'll turn the repeater back over to normal operation. Take care, it's KV4UP.